it has to come out of capitalism. Because capitalism will only, their societies will be the only one wealthy enough, right, to transfer into communism. You know, each according to his work, each according to his need. Only communists, only the Chinese said no, that we're going to practice communist socialism with Chinese characteristics. And guess what? They didn't use elements of capitalism, but right now, they done jumped over capitalism. Of course, they used some of it. And now they're jumping into a higher level of communism. That's a quantum leap. When you jump over a whole step that's necessary for your growth and for your development, you leap all the way over that step. Now, us, yes, I'm going back to Oakland Wednesday, inshallah. We got stuff to do there. I'll go to court on Friday. But to the jury, I'm there to recruit the jury. I'm not there, that's my talk. Those people's stuff is absurd, it's childish, it's stupid, it's inconsistent, it don't make no difference. And I'm here to recruit you, I'm not here to convince you of nothing. We got to move into a new world, we want your help, we want you to help us. And that's what that's the jury, that's our argument. We said our argument to the jury is what the opening statement and the closing statement. We've been had it psychologically ready for a long time. But we are in the process of making a quantum leap. Why? Because no one is accepting the responsibility for America. Anybody that watched a person speaking last week for ISNA? No, IGNA. Yeah. Well, no, they're not even anywhere in this at all. The world is here. Where we're talking, right, the world, this is where the world is. This is where the Islam is. They're in Never Never Land. They're in Never Never Land. That stuff they're talking will never, never be worth a dime. And it's proven now. Okay? So, none of the famous Negroes, none of the famous white folks, they tried to keep us out of everything. It don't do no good. Allah just wiped out all of it. It make them, that you are now unnecessary. You're incoherent, unrealistic, and you don't fit nowhere. Oh, keep doing what you're doing. Now, we got America here. We already talked about it, nonviolent resistance, right? Alternative resistance. Same thing we've been talking about. But not on the same scale. We have to up everything we've been doing. We have to raise more money. We have to become, remember we've been talking about developing new institutions or institutions sufficient to take care of that work? Well, we have to almost, it's just like we was attacked, like the Iranians was attacked in 1980, and they had all of these weapons at their disposal, but they didn't know how to use them. We have all of, look, it don't make no difference what nobody say. That's one thing about this period. We're not trying to convince nobody or nothing. We're just going to share what we have and keep right on rolling. You can like it or not. Just like the khutbah was. Look, we love everybody, but we just tell it. It's our duty to tell you this. Now, you can take it. If you don't like it, you can pray your 2 rakats, 4 rakats, pray your dua, and get on up out of here. Because that's actually what we meant. We almost said it like that. but we didn't say it exactly like that. Because we have a serious duty now. What we told Iranians was true. 5 years ago in Denver, you don't have your responsibility. We've taken your responsibility of America away from you. Now, we have to handle America. There's still nonviolent resistance. There's still alternative resistance, right? There's still the institutions. Okay, we have to deal with, say, drugs. The churches, the unhoused, all those things, but we have to deal with it on a gigantic level. So that means our thinking right now is on a different level than it was. It was pretty good last week, but it's on a whole different level now. And so a man thinketh, so is he. We say so as a man believes. But believe it or not, where we are right now as a community is about the picture that we had in our head all along about where we would land. You would say, all of that trouble? It's not all of that trouble. First of all, if we had 8 to 10 senators, San Diego, Oakland, 2 in LA, all of those, remember, those are not ours. They built up, when we had programs at Berkeley and in LA, UCLA, all of those programs was hundreds of people. As-Sabiqun was about the third biggest organization in America after ISNA and ICNA. As-Sabiqun was next, right? They flooded our organization. The students, to everybody. And guess what? They did just like here. At the snap of a finger, they all snapped up and closed the doors and walked away. You never heard it? We didn't even mention it. We didn't mention it. We might mention Sacramento a little bit or something. We didn't mention it. You know why? That was on the schedule. They was never ours, and we did not, I'm telling you, the dear believers, we didn't lose one night of sleep of all of them packing up and leave. And we were left with what? Here, and we left with Oakland. I had a call last night from Canada. So one of the brothers said, "Oh, how are you?" Let's say it was an Iranian brother. "Oh, that was fine. Do you still have your masjid? What happened? I just saw some pictures of you. Are you all right?" I said, "Oh, it was a long time ago." So he knew what he was calling about. If they sold a masjid in Oakland, it doesn't matter. We'll get it back. But we're not going to work and sweat for it. Anything we're going to do in Oakland, we're going to schedule it. Big gaps of time. Why? We have to raise tons of money and develop deep organizations. Right now. Right? So, they can't divert us with Oakland. You know why? We were never diverted by Oakland. Remember, half the time I'd be here. I just started going back there when we said, well, time to go back now. Time to do this. Time to do that. Right? And when I went to jail every time in Oakland, I would call us here and say, don't nobody get me out of jail. I don't want to, right? I volunteer. I was going to jail because I wanted to. Whatever they do there is childish. When we left, we was going to sue them for $50 million. Then they act funny during the last 3 months, so we boosted it up to $75 million. We're going to sue them for it. Now, we don't like the attitude, so we just boosted up to $100 million. A lot of people say, you're not going to give you that. It doesn't matter. One part of the plan is to use their money to develop this. But the other, we're not going to never sit on your behind and wait for nothing from them. We're going to be started. We're going to be out in the street. We're going to be here, there. We're going to raise big money ourselves right now. If I was ready, I'd be out at ICM. But we got to leave Wednesday. We don't have to leave, but we're going to leave. I don't have to go to court. I don't have to go to court. I don't have to do none of that. I don't care about, can you imagine how beautiful this is? If we get convicted, we could get as much as a $35 fine. They could fine me $35 for trespassing. That's what it's for. Can they do it? No, because I won the case last year, 2 years ago. I already won the case. That's why it's absurd and it's ridiculous. And that's what I'm going to tell them. I'm going to use that language in court. I'm going to say that they got a program of absurdity. Look what they did. They did this. It's incoherent. It's childish. It's stupid. That's exactly the language I'm going to use in the courtroom with the district attorney sitting there. And by the time I get there, they already know what I'm going to, because I done told everybody. That's what I'm going to do. And we're going to raise big funds. Okay? If we get a payoff from them, fine. If they stretch it out over, because when you go into civil court, they can stretch it out for years. Yeah, they can stretch that stuff out for years. Okay. When you're dealing with the state, remember we're still in the federal government, state government, and local government, and Bank of America. Yeah. They did stuff they gave our money away. We had $100,000 in that bank account. They just gave it to the clowns. They don't have the money now. We had a stretch of property, let's say it's worth $1 million at least. They just went and sold it. They may have sold the masjid. That's what the brother may have been calling about last night. Do you still have the masjid? Because some of the Arabs, when I'd be out raising funds, would ask, do you own that masjid? So of course we do. I said, here, let me show you the thing. But the government will have them sell it. But they can't sell it because they don't have the right to. Okay. We will not allow them to use Oakland to divert us from what our job is now. That's what I'm saying. We're going to deal with it, but they can't get in our business. They can't divert us. Because our job now is, let's say, 30 times as big as that. You have to remember now, in revolutionary thinking, they have certain things as strategic retreat. Does anybody remember us discussing that? We made, 2008, we made CDs on strategic retreat. That is, you're retreating, but you're retreating to your own pleasure, to your own desire. It's a managed retreat. It's a strategic retreat. When the people look up, they will be trapped by your retreat. It's like Khalid ibn Walid and them. They would break out and running from the enemy, and they would be running, after a while, you can't see up ahead that far. As they are spreading out, they're coming around. They're breaking off in columns of two and coming around. Pretty soon the people chasing them are surrounded. It's simple, boy, but is it effective? Strategic retreat. Either that type, or two, you're retreating to where you can wear them out. Anybody ever heard of cow pens? Cow pens. It was in the Revolutionary War. There was a battle of cow pens. Anybody ever seen the movie Patriot? What's the name?
Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, remember at the end, he was saying they believe this about colonials, that they can't last but 2 rounds or so like that. So he said, we want you to last 2 rounds and then break and run. They did that. They tussled, because muzzle to muzzle with big British army, you can't do it. So they turned and they ran. When they turned and ran, when they went over a hill, that was all of their people. They was copying, remember this is supposed to be the Revolutionary War, they was copying the Battle of Cowpens. Cowpens was in South Carolina. When you're driving on 75, 85, just keep your eyes open. When you get to that big peach down there in South Carolina,
Spartanburg.
right, look out. If you keep going south, just look out for cowpens. It's a battle. Here's how it worked. They phoned British troops. What the colonials would do, they would fire a couple of, then they would break and run. They would run past their colonial troops already. Then they would bam, 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 and knock off a whole lot. Then they would break and run. Then they would turn. By that time, the British would regroup and they're coming at it. Bam, 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 bam. I think they did it a series of 4 times. They wiped the British out. It's the Battle of Cowpens. Look on, can you see on your computer? Just Cowpens, Battle of Cowpens, and just read a little bit about what it says. But that's from history. That's what we did to the white man, over and over again. Right? That's what strategic retreat is. That's what we've been doing. We did it in Oakland. In Oakland, everybody looked, the white man did this to you, the white man did that to you, that's all everybody, oh man, that's cold-blooded. That's terrible, isn't it? Not losing a minute of sleep. Never known murder, nothing. Why? Because it's a strategic retreat. All right? To skip up to now, you look up and everything that has happened to us, we've encouraged them to do. They are trapped. They're the ones trapped. We're not trapped. First of all, they can't keep our property. You just can't do that. That ain't no problem, okay? And if they did, it still ain't no problem. If they did, our thinking is this. If they keep $1 million worth of our property, we're going to raise 10 to 25 million, right? To cover that. Why? Remember in revolutionary struggle, you don't lose. You can lose 90% of your people and everything, but you don't lose. You have base areas. A guerrilla war, a guerrilla army have base areas. Sometimes you have to abandon base areas, and sometimes you lose base areas because of attacks, right? The base area where you're getting all your cooking done, you may be raising like farms all around. You may be doing it, this is a base area, right? It may be several little towns and all that all linked together. You're raising food, you got cattle and sheep, you got all that. That's your base area. You may have to abandon that. In fact, in a protracted struggle, you're going to have to abandon so many base areas over a period of time. Your army may get stripped down. You may have 100 people in your army today, and you may have 10 tomorrow. You have to take those 10 and rebuild, and rebuild, and rebuild. Remember, we call our struggle protracted. Protracted is over a long period of time. That means we don't think in the short range. They do. If we thought in the short range, everything they do, flatten tires, cut this, cut that, steal a radio, we would be going crazy, running after that dumb stuff, right? Remember, you always say, well, they took this, they did that, nothing. Because it's a long range stuff. In the long range, what does a radio mean to you? Nothing. What does anything else mean? It don't mean nothing. Why? Because you got your mind on the long range struggle and all on the big stuff. That little stuff is there to divert you. They take it and you can almost see them taking it. Suppose you thought about it. Suppose you went around and tried to close all that off. They was messing with my cars. That's why I bought so many cars. They're expendable. I done walked away from 9 or 10 cars, nice ones. That white Volvo I used to be right out there, shoot, I drove it down the street going to the coffee place, and the police jumped behind me, and